your own control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose to masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome to today's show, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. And today I'm going to be re-talking about an update about a previous episode that we did on manipulative spiritual gurus. So the kind of people that talk and spiritual nonsense, but really they're just trying to start some sort of a cult where they can have multiple partners, right? So Aubrey Marcus is, of course, one of Joe Rogan's friends that he started On It with, which is some supplement company. And, you know, as we said last time, he had a young girlfriend who was naive and probably had some trauma or something growing up. So then she kind of like got suckered into his little harem where he was basically free to mess around with whoever he wanted. And then she just had to suck it up. And anytime when you're in this sort of a cult and you say, you know, this doesn't feel good, they kind of attack you and say, how dare you? Jealousy is a bad trait and you need to get rid of that by like being totally comfortable with something that's absolutely uncomfortable. So how that ended, and we spoke about it last time, you guys should check the first part out, is he lost that relationship, went through a bunch of women, and eventually found one who he was able to convince that now he was ready to be completely monogamous with. So now he's convinced this woman that he's just going to be with her, and he goes ahead and he actually marries her. So not just a girlfriend, boyfriend situation. Now they are married. So that goes on for maybe a year or 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. And then he realizes he's an addict, just like all these people, and he can't just be with one woman. So he encloses that in some sort of a narcissistic language where it's basically like he needs to have a relationship constellation, meaning he's going to be cheating on her with a new, young, naive woman. Not only that, he tells his wife, hey, you couldn't give me children. God told me to have children with this new younger woman. Imagine that. Imagine your spouse that maybe they married you, you couldn't have kids, but instead of wanting to adopt or do something else to have children, they tell you, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get this young, hot model and she's going to get impregnated. And I'm just going to be with her. And if you don't like it, to recap, he said, if you don't like it, you can leave. But she's older. She's bonded to him. She thinks this is forever. She kind of gets sucked into this. And then she's like, okay, fine. And then here's like a little clip. Let's show you guys. So this is, of course, the third that he invites into their sacred union, right? So their relationship constellation of monogamy is now a sacred union constellation, right? So this is the model that he decides that he's going to get pregnant. Not only that, he tells her that God, the spirit, Mother Earth, or whatever, spiritual jargon, you're going to use, that being has told him that he needs to impregnate this particular woman, young woman, naive woman who has no idea what she has gotten into. But anyways, so she's there. This is her like trying to be chill with it. They have like some weird, I think this is like some weird therapist guy that's probably like one of his friends. It's like,
Very easy to.
This is totally normal. This is nothing you should worry about. Just go with it. Your guys are so evolved. So they just blow up her ass that she's so evolved emotionally in tune with nature. And this is just how people are now. And we as a species have evolved beyond jealousy of our mates, sleeping with and connecting and falling in love with others. That's totally selfish. That's the real narcissist. Crazy backwards world. Anyway, so yeah, he's got like people around to like kind of like, there he is. And yeah, just go with it. And she's like, yeah, I guess I gotta go with it. Anyways, so that happens. And this was when they released it about 2 months ago. So moving on, now we are switching to present day, where our boy here is now talking to now she's super happy. Look how she's just like, this is great. This is her new lover that they have brought into their relationship constellation. Now, he's probably another narcissist or something like that, or just someone who he's like probably an F-boy. Look at the hair. He's a musician. We all know the stereotypes. Stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. So he is, he's just like, she's hot. I don't have to like really give much in this relationship. I can basically have free intimacy with a woman that is really hot, that probably would not give him the time of day, because he's probably, let's just assume he's probably a broke musician, whatever. Maybe he's not completely broke, but he's probably not as well off as her current husband. So he's not good enough to leave her primary relationship for, but now she's going to have this constellation. She's like, oh, go ahead, honey. You're going to impregnate this 20-year-old. No problem. I'm going to bang who happens to be your friend, who's a musician, who is very attractive, even with his weird hair choice. He's still an attractive dude. He's probably able to sing. You know the type. Chicks dig that. So she's like, yeah. And look, she's glowing. She looks way better than the previous podcast episode, where she kind of looked like she'd been crying for months, right? So now she's like, I'm getting some from this young, hot dude that happens to be his friend. And he's there like, this is great. This is a wonderful thing for our constellation to grow. And I have to hold space for you to basically like bang and snuggle right in front of me while I am banging and snuggling also with some 20-year-old. Whatever. So evolved, you guys. Yeah. Super. Look at this. This is the perfect situation, right? Anyways. And I did see a little bit of this clip where Andrew, and I don't know who this guy's name is. I think his name is Jake or something. I don't know. Forgive me. Jake Rattlesnake. Yeah. And of course, that's Myron. They were talking about the situation, but I did not hear in any part anything, because they're just talking about the new situation where he has this guy, the wife's boyfriend, come in. So they're just saying, this terrible woman bringing a boyfriend in, and look at this cuck. But they forgot the beginning part, which is the most important part. She wanted monogamy. He promised monogamy. Then he says, if you don't let me bang and impregnate a 20-year-old, I'm leaving you. And now she's older in a situation. So this is her revenge. Look, you guys gotta admit, this is not her fault here. I'm sorry if some dude says, I'm bringing this 20-year-old into the relationship, like it or not. And you can go if you're not okay with it. And I'm impregnating her because, hey, you're barren. Wow. So incredibly ridiculous. No, all open relationships are trash. I'm sorry. This is completely insane. So she does what women tend to do, is she grieves, and then she goes, you know what? If he's doing it, I'm doing it. And everybody in an open relationship, it usually starts with the guy saying, hey, I have money and I'm attractive, and you're older now, you're less attractive. You're not going to have a really good time finding people. So I'm just going to start banging younger women in front of you. And if you don't like it, go cry about it in the corner, because there's nothing you could do about it. And every single time the girl pulls in another guy. It just happens. Like, you guys have to stop thinking that this Andrew Tate fantasy is real. The type of women that fall for this are like this 20-year-old girl, young, naive, don't have a good relationship with their family, probably don't have a father. And as soon as they hit mental maturity around 25 or so, then they go, what the heck am I doing? And they leave. You can't mess with human beings like that. We are not this fantasy of like bonobos, whatever. Like, they find one group of monkeys that apparently doesn't have jealousy, because every time somebody's jealous, they kill them or kick them out of the monkey group. And they're like, we're like these monkeys, evolved monkeys. That's not most monkeys. All the other monkey species have jealousy, and they murder each other when they do shit like this, okay? They don't have relationship constellations. You guys have to stop. So anyways, they completely say that Aubrey is a cuck. No, he's not a cuck. He is a spiritual narcissist, someone who uses spiritual jargon to sound enlightened and to manipulate young, naive people who are seeking something out of life because they feel empty and hopeless and sad inside. So they're looking for a leader, a father figure, and they end up banging the father figure until they grow out of it when they mature. So she's starting to get like a really quick maturity lesson. This guy is crazy. I should probably get out of this. And the first step that they always do before they leave the situation is they get back at them by inviting a dude. So it is what it is. This is how it happens. Like, real relationships, real good women do not play this game. They're gonna leave. It's just how it is. I know we want to live in a fantasy world where if you have money, you can buy loyalty, but you can't buy love, and you even can't buy loyalty, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. If you're not ready to be in a monogamous relationship, please don't do it. And especially don't do it and then try to have children in this. What happened to the children? Well, you're creating more people with attachment disorders. You're creating more chances for your child to get molested by a stranger that is not biologically related to them. Stepmothers are abusive, stepfathers are abusive. More likely than not, the child will end up early demise, abused physically, verbally, mentally. They usually have health problems, lifelong health problems. Their base dopamine and oxytocin levels are lower than people who come from monogamous two-parent households. It is just how it is. You guys, there are normal women out there. I'm sorry, I haven't been like listening to chat. There's normal women out there, not on dating sites, not in bars, not willing to do constellation situations. They're probably not going to, I don't know, music festivals half naked. They're probably not, like, I don't know where you guys are looking for them. If you're on any of these situations, you're not going to find them. They're probably like in very boring hobby type places. They're probably with their families. They probably meet people from extended families, or, you know, the majority of people meet people at work. Unfortunately, that's how it is. School and work is where you usually meet your spouse. If you're meeting outside of these things, you are at risk. It's just like, you can't expect to meet good people at places where people do bad things. I mean, there's not as many. There's never been as many. Most people since the dawn of time have been trash. And I tell you guys this all the time. Most people are not good people. The older you get, the smaller your circle. Not because you can't meet people. It gets easier to meet people as you get older and more comfortable and more like, you don't care about what people think. Once you reach a certain age, you're like, I don't care if this person likes me or not. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to say what I want to say. And if you don't like it, you go screw yourself. Good luck, buddy. But there comes a point where, like, you're just like, most people are just not it. They're just not it. Most guys are not it. Most girls are not it. But you have to keep trying. You don't give up. You guys have to stop giving up. Just because the odds have never been in anyone's favor throughout history doesn't mean you have an excuse to give up. That's not how life works. You got to persevere. And I want to talk about another couple that I also talked about before, and they finally released like a 2-hour long thing on like why they got divorced and all that stuff. I am trying to find clips of that so it's easier to talk about, because I think that's very it's a good case study for why you have to be really careful who you marry and how you chase people. But I digress. So anyways, they're talking about weak men. This is not a weak man. Aubrey Marcus is not a weak man. He is a spiritual narcissist. This is someone who is like an alcoholic, like any sex addict, like a corn addict, like any sort of addict. He tries to do well, but then he makes up some excuse that he can do the bad habit again. Right? Like he does this big ceremony. This is my monogamy ceremony. I am never going to be an open relationship, polyamorous douche again. I am fully committed to this one woman. She is, and he like puts her on this pedestal. You are blah, 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 perfection. And then a couple years in, he's like, I got that itch and I'm going to scratch it. So how am I going to scratch it? I'm going to start talking nonsense again. And the nonsense is always, hey, your jealousy is like not the vibes. So we need to get rid of this. We need to do like some sort of spiritual retreat, do some like drugs or something like that to like convince you that your jealousy is like a problem. That's how it ends. Anyways, so this is the first step, is she gets her little boyfriend. The next step, we already know, is the same thing that happened to his last relationship that he tried to do this shit to. She gets a boyfriend, and then the boyfriend gives her like the detachment. Like when you are attached to someone in a marriage, like when you are like physically attached to them, it is painful to separate. There are chemicals involved that make it incredibly painful. So for a lot of people in this situation, what I see them do is they get the boyfriend, they get the girlfriend, and that person detaches the chemicals from the previous person. And now they're able to think clearly and then move on, either with the new person or just go by themselves, because you got to break those chemicals. And it's incredibly hard because it is addiction. We are created to be very addicted to our partner, physically, mentally. Our bodies will be addicted, right? So she was addicted. She had to break it. And that's why they always tell people the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. It's sick. It's sick, but there is some truth to it. And people who don't do that, they have a harder time cutting off those chemicals. And that's why a lot of people, they break up, get back together, break up, get back together, break up, because they know we're not good together. This is all wrong, but the chemicals keep bringing them back together because they haven't found somebody else to attach to, which I'm not saying hopping from relationship to relationship is good either. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have these chemicals and we could just use our brains, but nobody has brains. What about Simperius? Anyways, so let's see. Oh, this was a clip that I wanted to show you guys on. I'm going to make it a little faster because it's a little slow. I don't like this guy. Okay, I don't agree with everything Sadia says, as I've stated before, but sometimes she says good things. So
in those areas, he's got no self-control. For dating, no problem. It doesn't matter. Yeah, he can be sexually wild. He can spend all his money. No problem. You can enjoy a great life. When you marry a man like that, every day is anxiety. Every single day is anxiety, because his lack of self-control will lead to a lack of self-respect. And as a result, he'll have such low self-esteem that you can't trust him to make decisions. But men with lots of self-control, you can trust that they make great decisions. You can trust their judgment, and you can finally start a family or start your goals. But you can't do that with men who have got no self-control.
You know what the amazing thing is that as I was listening to you, I was thinking about, like, men don't learn that anywhere.
No, they don't.
It's so hard. Like, if I never lived as a monk, I wouldn't have any sense.
What was your biggest lesson of living with monks?
I mean, a big part of it is sense control. Like you eat what you're given, you're celibate while you're there. There's complete focus and determination on the path. And so there were so many amazing mental mastery tools that I gained in terms of discipline and organization that I don't know where else I would have learned them.
Can you excel as a man without self-control, do you think?
I don't think so.
It's an impossibility, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's why I love what you're saying.
So
I just feel bad because I can't think of...
It's the opposite, that actually. Men are being told that be with as many women as you can. Have zero sexual discipline. And, you can kind of eat whatever, and there's always Ozempic, so don't worry about it. Or we're actually being told to reduce our self-control and replace it with hedonism. Follow your impulses, and you only live once, just do it. That kind of mentality when it comes to drinking, when it comes to food, when it comes to money, just spend all these things. Unfortunately, we're pushing men into a slow and steady depression because we're reducing the importance of self-control and replacing it with self-indulgence. And that is a slow suicide for a man. He will only start to respect himself when he can control himself. And that only when he can control himself, he can then excel. And if you pick a man who can't control himself, you'll spend the rest of your life trying to control him, and it will bring out the worst side of you.
Okay, so listen to what she said here. And this is true. Men have to learn self-control. The more self-control you have, the more you can show others that you have self-control. What you eat, what time you go to sleep, what time you wake up. You don't need to be told to do anything. You pick something up, you put it away without being told. All of these signs that you have self-control, that you are an adult, are very attractive to mentally mature women, not these women that fall for these spiritual gurus. These women that fall for spiritual gurus, they probably have disorganized homes. Their car's a mess. They probably smell. They probably don't take showers often. These are women that are chaos. They are in complete mental, physical chaos, that they need someone who just has a strong and powerful voice to tell them what to do and think. And that is because they are still in their adolescence. So when you meet a woman that is looking for someone who has self-control, that is a good indicator of a good woman for a relationship. Someone who looks around and says, you're really messy, or you're really going to go to bed at whatever time, you're calling me in the middle of the night. You're not asleep? What's going on? Like someone who is noticing your poor behaviors, your adolescent, narcissistic, uncontrolled behaviors, lack of discipline, that's a good sign. Women should immediately be able to pick up on lack of discipline, but women today don't have strong, disciplined fathers like they used to have, because that used to be something that the father taught the son. But now you have a bunch of single moms teaching their sons to be little boys forever. And when you're a little boy forever, you cannot attract a good woman. You can only attract a broken woman. So that means you're constantly having to manipulate her, and she's constantly having to manipulate you because you're two broken people. That's the dynamic, because like attracts like. So a fully formed woman can attract a fully formed man. But if one of them is off, it's not going to work, because people who are very disciplined look at people who are not disciplined as not people, right? So if I go to your house and it's like a disaster, or if you're telling me, I don't know where my homework is, I don't know where this is, oh, I left that somewhere, I don't know where I left, I forgot this, I forgot that, oh, I didn't think ahead about this, I knew I was going to go to the beach, but I didn't bring my bathing suit, I knew I was going to go here, but I didn't stop to get food, and now I'm hangry. Like the lack of thought, the lack of thinking through for the future means you're a chaotic person. And for a man, that is the kiss of death, because you are going to find chaotic females that are just going to bring you drama, people who do not know how to control themselves as well. So these are the women that are going to be more likely to cheat. They're going to be more likely to go, I'm bored, I got to do something to spice it up, like give you problems. This is not what you want. You also don't want, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Stop talking about that. It's 4:20 somewhere. No, you don't. Okay, 4:20 somewhere. Guys end up with 5 o'clock somewhere, girls. It's like, it's margarita time and this is where I cheat. No, you do not want that. You guys need discipline. Marijuana lowers T. It increases estrogen. It makes you slow. We've talked about this. You guys need to cut the bad habits. Just sit with yourself in the discomfort of the results of your own choices so long that you get up and fix them, right? Stop numbing yourself with watching stuff that tells you you're not the problem. Stop numbing yourself with drugs, alcohol, corn addiction, sleeping too much, staying up all night. Control your schedule, control what you put in your body, your food choices, plan your meals, plan for your health, take some supplements, good quality ones we've talked about. Control your life, and then you get good people to come to you. That's the thing that people don't understand. When you do all these things that show you are in self-control, you attract women who are like ready for a good relationship, not these flighty, whatever I feel, or these chicks that go, the vibes were good, so I cheated, or the vibes were bad, so I left him. Really? Anyways, we're going to talk about the Icon couple, Mimi and Alex Icon couple's divorce. On the next one, I'm trying to pick clips from it because it's like a master class in picking the wrong person and missing all the signs just because you are, quite frankly, shooting outside your league. Like, stop aiming for outside your, like, when somebody doesn't have the hell yes response to your presence, it's a hell no. You don't want to convince somebody to be with you, not the girl, not the guy. Nobody should be trying to convince the other person to sleep with them, to commit to them, to do right by them. Nobody should be doing those things. You shouldn't be having to have these problems arise because you should want the other person and put their needs and wants just as important as yours. Nobody is below. Nobody is like the butt of the relationship. Anyways, what do you guys talk about? Yes, it's hard out there in those streets. I know it's getting really hard, but you know what? Only because we become so hyper aware of all the problems, which is a problem when you think about it. When you're hyper aware of all the ways things can go wrong, that's when you start attracting these things to you. Because if you focus instead on the people who have everything right, and then you just laser focus on how they're doing things correctly, even if those couples don't work out, if you're only focused on what they do right and you mimic that and you let that become your self-fulfilling prophecy, you'll still be successful even if these fools fail. One example is, I remember there was a couple that I saw and I'm like, how did you get him to marry you? Blah, blah, blah. And then she's like giving me tips and stuff like that. And I used those tips to get Steven to marry me. They got a divorce, but we're still together years later. So just because they don't work out doesn't mean when you see something good that they did, you can't steal that and make that yours, right? You could do that. You have the ability. You're supposed to, as a person, be looking around at all the people you know, all the people who you really see how they are, especially in private, and going, you know what? I like this person's relationship. I like how this person eats. I like how this person, takes care of themselves. I like how this person is healthy. I like how, these habits that they have or how happy they are. And then laser focus on what makes that possible for them. What are they doing differently than you that allows them to do that? And you can literally steal that and make that your own. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. That is literally how I create who I am. I go, okay, I like how this person does this. I'm going to start doing that. I like how this person, I'm going to start doing that. And you just take the good out of everyone around you. And everybody's got something that they're good at. Just look around. People are good at things everywhere. Ice cream is not bad for you. Where did you guys get this? Ice cream is great. I love pistachio ice cream. It's a little high in histamines, which I have a problem with, but I still eat it. I don't care. Make the ice cream yourself at home so there's no gums, fillers, colors, additives, fake flavors, all that stuff. Just make it at home. Ice cream is good for you because fat is good for you. So cream. A little bit of sugar every now and then as a treat after a high protein meal is okay. You don't want to have ice cream or desserts without first having a high protein meal. That's the trick to life. To keep your blood sugar stable, first you do the protein, then you do the fun at the end. That's why also you want to avoid bread in the beginning of the meal, because that's going to spike your blood sugar. And then it's going to crash after you've had your protein. And now you're going to want dessert. So you're going to have 2 crashes. And then at night, you might get too hot, sweaty, because you're like trying to deal with all that junk food that you ate twice. So be very careful with your timing, your food timing. You can eat almost anything that's not poison or chemicals. Real food. You can eat almost any real food if you just time it right and food combine. So you have to look up food combining, because certain things, when you mix together and put them in your stomach, they make you sick. But if you have them with other things, it's fine. Sometimes you need to have things like ginger tea or warm teas with a food to help you digest it, to help keep, acid down or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Also, as I have said before, never have ice water or cold drinks or fizzy drinks with food. In fact, you can look up studies on ice water and having like strokes, heart attacks, heart problems. Usually when people have a lot of ice water, it's a shock to your body. It's not natural. You don't find that in nature. If you're on a hot day, there's nowhere you can in nature find a bunch of ice to just shove in your body. So it's not made for that. So there's going to be a reaction, and sometimes you can harm yourself very, very bad. So yeah. No, what is this? What are you talking about? You do not need to gain as much weight as possible. You can gain muscle, not weight. All right. I have spoken about this before, but we'll talk about that another time. Yes, that's very good. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Okay, so let's see. Why are you guys talking about mics? Yes. I'm extra equipped to talk about manipulation because game recognizes game. Anyways. What are you guys talking about? All right. Anyways, so you guys, let's finish with
you become you become a mother to a child you'd never wanted to adopt.
Wow, that mic drop. That's so powerful. It's as I'm listening to you, I'm just sitting.
Yeah. So what you were talking about with the sexual discipline, that will protect guys more than it will protect women in this day and age. Because before, women used to get pregnant and they used to get attached to that guy forever, whether they liked them or not, whether he had money to support a family or not. They would be screwed if they picked the wrong person. Now women have a way out, but men still don't. So now men have no way out. So if you succumb to an undisciplined sexual advance from a sexually undisciplined woman and she ends up pregnant, if you have anything, she could screw you for life. So you got to be really, really careful with that. The other thing is, and this is an unpopular thing to say that women don't like when I say, but back in the day, unattractive women would prey on well-off, more attractive men by throwing themselves at him. So one of the tactics for less attractive women that used to work was they would throw themselves and be hypersexual towards attractive men who had some sort of monetary success, resources, right? And then if they got pregnant, they could win because they could basically say, this man did it. And the entire community would force that man to marry that woman. So if you were dumb, you went to a bar, you got drunk, whatever, and a woman who was not even attractive at all caught you alone, she could basically manipulate you because you're not sexually disciplined and you don't control yourself, so you're drunk in public. She could basically get herself pregnant by you because you're dumb. And now your whole life is over. You could have gotten a more attractive woman without any problems who's not a super manipulator. But no, now you are stuck in a situation because society said if you get her pregnant, you got to stay with her. So remember, that's why a lot of these women are so hypersexual, that are like not super, super attractive, but they're still like hypersexual. And you're just like, there's this, well, I think it's basically going away, but there was a time where men would assume that the most attractive women would be, you know, hypersexual because everybody wanted to sleep with them. And then we've over time realized that no, it's actually not the most attractive women, because they can demand marriage. They have like more say. They can demand marriage. They can demand that you wait. If you're less attractive and you're trying to shoot above your pay grade, basically, all you have is your sexuality to play with. And that's why you'll find a lot of women who are less attractive, more moderately attractive, trying to go way above their, because they want to get pregnant. They want to get the guy in child support. They're hoping he does the right thing and marries them. And then they won. He loses because he has to be with someone who's way lower than him, but she wins. So that's what you guys got out there. And that's why it's out there. It's like a remnants from back when they would kind of like force men to do the right thing, which that's going away. But now the government still forces you to, in a way, do the right thing. You don't get to be with the woman, which is why they get angry and they go on TikTok and start complaining about men. Like, how dare he? He's the one who was, you know, drunk and I took advantage of. He got me pregnant. He was undisciplined sexually, so he should be forced to marry me and pretend to love me for the rest of my life. But no, you don't have to marry them. But who suffers is your offspring and your bank account. So please be careful. I know it's hard out there. I know it's very hard out there, but it's always been hard. It's always been hard since the dawn of time. It's just, we didn't know about it back in the day. We didn't know how hard it was because nobody was talking about it. And if you looked on sitcoms, everything was like sunny and rosy and beautiful. And they didn't have like alcoholics and people like, and women trying to like get more attractive men to sleep with them so that they could get money or whatever, or ruin their lives. They didn't have that like on television before. Everything was very like, everything's rosy and wonderful. And your wife is going to be young and hot forever. And she's going to make you biscuits when you get home, or whatever the hell it is. Everything's always been propaganda, guys. So life has always been hard. It's always been like this. So don't fall for it. This is the worst time to be alive. This is actually not so bad, because now you can know all the tricks, and now you know what they're going to do, and you can defend yourselves. So defend yourselves from all the traps of the modern world. That is also the old world. So anyways, that's all I have to say today, guys. I hope you all have a great day, and I'm still working on the thing. Maybe I do it with Damon on Saturday, or maybe I do that some other time this week. But anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And yes, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
The old gods whisper with tongues of sin. They crawl through culture to pull you in. Don't be for sale, don't wear their grin. The old are rotten, don't let them win. Eyes and nets and mirrored glass. They promised youth, they cursed your past. You drank the lie with ruby lips, but every toast is one